Well, I've been disappointed at City sets for many, many years, and that disappointment continues with this batch. If I'm having a party at my house, which I know is maybe quite far-fetched, but it could happen.
Right, I think we can go on to Technic now.
Do you even want to cover Technic? I know you don't like it. My biggest criticism of this, can you guess what it is? Hi everyone, Chris from Brick Ranker here. I'm joined by Graham again, and I know in our last video I said that December was a bit of a lull period for LEGO, but pretty much the day after we posted that episode, we obviously got images of the first wave of LEGO 2024 sets. So we're going to give our first impressions of those sets, what we like, what we dislike, and I think we're going to start with the most important of all, maybe for us definitely, which is the new LEGO CMF Series, Series 25. So the last two series were obviously licensed ones. We had the Disney 100 and the Marvel series, but now we're kind of back to one of LEGO's own series. What do you think of these, Graham?
I think, I mean, obviously it's a really significant milestone, isn't it, for the series? Number 25, quarter of a century. I was quite disappointed we didn't get some kind of limited edition minifigure like we did for the 10th series. We got Mr. Gold. That would have really kind of caused the hype around, a lot of hype around the
but
series.
can I just bring you up on that point? I also think that would have been great to see that. It's not always nice to have something you can kind of chase after in a way, but with a new cardboard packaging, can you just like imagine the kind of widespread devastation that would cause in supermarkets and shops?
That's a good point. I haven't thought of that. LEGO have really shot themselves in the foot with that cardboard packaging in multiple ways, it feels.
I think it's unfair to say they've shot themselves in the foot because cardboard packaging is good. It's just that people's like attitude really.
It's disappointing, really, to see.
But I still think it's good. It's just people need better manners, really. I guess.
Okay, so we won't get that, and probably never will again, I guess, unless they only sell it online or something. I don't know.
Maybe,
But I think the minifigures we have got are good. I mean, for me, the most exciting ones are the dinosaur. I think the detective is really, really cool. The Fright Knight, and obviously the shepherd with the goat. Those are the best to me, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd say similar for me. Those are probably my favourites. I like the Stegosaurus minifigure because we got the T-Rex in the last series, so it's good to kind of have ones that sort of complement each other. I guess it's kind of like a running theme, which is nice. I don't know how many more of those that they'll be able to do.
Yeah, I don't know if you could do many more dinosaurs, but we'll see.
But yeah, I get that some people don't like the costume minifigures, but I think dinosaurs are always cool, aren't they?
Yeah, I think when you have just random ones that don't really make any sense, they're really lame.
Like
but
a milk carton or something.
Yeah, but when you kind of have at least one other one of that type, it's good to see.
Yeah, overall it's a strong showing. I think there's a few that are a bit rubbish. I think there's that fitness woman and an esports player and a dog groomer. Even though we are getting a new dog mold, which is nice, I feel as though like we've seen the same sort of reincarnation of those minifigures just so many times. I'm just bored of them now.
Yeah, I agree. They're just not exciting, not interesting at all.
Also, I don't know if I mentioned this, but we've also got a first in this series, and that is the first minifigure ever with two prosthetic legs. So in I think it was a city theme set. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we got a minifigure which had one. Yeah. But this is the first time we're getting a minifigure that has two. So.
Yeah, I mean, more diversity is always good in terms of minifigures. It's a cool mold. So yeah, another one of the better ones, I think.
Definitely, yeah.
So we covered CMFs now. Now it's time to go off to Hogwarts, make our way to platform 9 3/4, and talk about the wave of Harry Potter sets, most of which will be coming on the 1st of March.
Yep.
There's one which is the forest set, the forest creature set is coming on the 1st of January. But yeah, the rest will have to wait until March. I think I always get excited when the new Harry Potter lineup comes along because I'm a big fan of the books and the the film series. And yeah, you can never quite know what you're going to get and if they're going to kind of do something quite new or not. But regardless, I think it's always, exciting for me to see them for the first time.
So as a fan, what do you think of this first wave?
I think it's quite disappointing. I think most of the locations we've had in some form before, Hagrid's hut has been done to death, although we do get some cool new additions with this latest incarnation. We get Fang for the first time, I believe.
Yeah, we do.
So that's kind of a moulded piece rather than being brick built, which is always a big plus. It looks good, yeah, it definitely looks like one of the better Hagrid huts, which is good to see. I think the boathouse as well is cool to get. It's the first time I believe we've had it in minifigure scale. It kind of looks as well from the owlery as if we're getting some kind of new modular layout, I think, for 2024 potentially.
Yeah, possibly. I think for me, I mean, I like Harry Potter, but for me, this wave kind of just doesn't really interest me because it kind of almost feels as though they've done like all of the well-known kind of with all the well-known sort of locations from the films, like the Great Hall, and parts of the castle. Really, now it just feels like they're kind of sort of now down to the quite like obscure places, and because I'm not as into it maybe as you, I want to see, the only sets that would interest me would be those really like popular, well-known places in the films.
Yeah.
So
I get it. As an adult collector, I think there's definitely less appeal with these kind of sets. They're obviously built towards play, so maybe the setting's not really super important. But I think, it's always cool to get kind of new figures, new animal figures is always nice to see.
Yeah, I think the only thing that would entice me into buying any of these sets would be a very kind of interesting minifigure, or maybe a character we hadn't seen before in minifigure form.
Yeah.
But I feel as though we're not really getting that. I mean, we've had so many versions of, like Ron and Harry.
Yeah.
And that's basically all it. That's basically all it is in this wave.
Yeah.
We get Hagrid again.
Yeah.
We've had Hagrid so many times before. It's like
there's no interesting minifigures really, is there?
But the sets themselves, I think, as good as the ones we got last year. So I don't think people are going to be too unhappy. It's just not for me, really.
We've still also got the sorting hat. We haven't had an image of that, which we are expecting, I think, as well in March. The Hedwig set just looks awful. It just looks a bit ridiculous, really, in my opinion.
It's the sort of thing you wouldn't want to sort of wake up in the middle of the night and find it staring at you, really. But,
it just has no resemblance to an owl, really, apart from obviously the big eyes and the wings. But yeah, it's quite basic. But maybe a good little accessory set, I don't know. Some people might like it. The Privet Drive sign is quite cool. But other than that,
it's the sort of set that I don't really understand its place in the market, because I feel as though like the kind of car, the Ford blue car, is like a good play set. If you're a kid, you can push it along. But what kid just wants to play with an owl and a sign? You know what I mean? I don't know, but it's not for me. But the others are okay, I think. I want to talk about Speed Champions now. That's right with you.
That's absolutely fine with me.
So 3 new sets that we've seen images of for the first 2024 wave.
We have a 4th one on the way, which is the McLaren F1 car, which I think is the one probably most people are most hyped about. But we'll talk about the 3 we have got so far. Yeah,
so we'll talk about the Ford Mustang Dark Horse first. Actually, but before I start with that, I will say that this batch has seen a slight price increase over the similar size sets we got last year. So for a set that had one vehicle in last year, you were kind of paying around it was £19.99 for us in the UK, and for those in the US I think it was around $24.99. Some of them are like £1 or $1 cheaper for some reason. But anyway, this first wave has increased that price to $20.99 if you're in the UK, and in the US it's now $26.99, which I guess is kind of in line with
a
like
pound or $1 more.
Yeah, which I guess is kind of which I guess is kind of in line with sort of just rising costs generally.
It's okay.
So I guess it's bearable. Obviously, it'd been great if they'd have stayed the same price, but can't always have that.
Squeeze more money out of us where they can.
Yeah, the Dark Horse looks fantastic.
Yeah, I mean the real life car looks really, really cool, and I think the Lego set looks just as cool. I don't know if it's a new colour that they're using.
I don't know,
but
yeah,
and they kind of got kind of tinted window effect.
Got tinted window, yeah, which is nice.
Yeah, it just looks really, really sleek and really polished. I think the key to like the make or break of that set, like many of the Speed Champions sets before, has been the colour matching of the stickers. So a lot of sets have fallen down on that, like the DB5.
Yeah.
There are others as well. I think the Too Fast, Too Furious set from last year. But if they get that right, this is going to be a set I'm definitely going to go out and buy.
Yeah, I think the problem you're always going to have with Speed Champions is obviously they're quite small models, aren't they? They're only 8 studs wide, so you've got to get the proportions of the car right, and I think it's a lot easier for them to actually do that if the car itself is kind of quite a simple shape, which the Ford Mustang is.
Yeah.
Like when they do some of the kind of race cars, there's so many kind of different like wings on those cars and different shapes that the end result just looks a bit off.
Yeah.
But this one looks great.
Yeah, I think obviously Lego it lends itself to blocky cars, which American cars tend to be. Whereas
Exactly, yeah.
if you've got an F1 car or kind of an electric car, or any kind of high performance car, they tend to be quite angular.
Yeah. Which brings us on to the next set in this batch, which is the Audi S1 e-tron Quattro.
Again, it looks okay. I think the wheels look really, really cool. I think the front is just odd. I don't know,
Kind of feels though the sort of front splitter, I think it's the front splitter, just sticks out too much, doesn't it?
It's kind of like
I don't know. I haven't seen the real life car, but it looks fantastic colours. I'll say that. It looks nice.
Kind of like they gave up when they got to the front, but we'll see.
And the last one is a 2-car set, the BMW M4 GT3 and the BMW M Hybrid V8. Kind of goes back to a point I was just making with I think it's a lot harder to make race cars look good.
Yeah.
Like with the back of
especially like with all the details and just getting everything to line up.
Yeah.
They mainly do it with stickers, which is a nightmare. But yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah, but I think, they are good. They're good solid sets. I don't have really too many criticisms of them, I think Speed Champions fans will be happy, I think.
There is a bar, isn't there, with Speed Champions? There's a certain standard you have to meet, and I think probably most of these meet that.
Yeah, I think so.
Right, I think we can go on to Technic now.
Do you even want to cover Technic? I know you don't like it.
We'll try, I think. See how far we
try and get through it.
I mean, as I said, as a non-Technic fan, I'm not hugely excited about these, that's fair to say, but it was kind of good to see like there is some kind of consistent theme, which I think Technic sets have been lacking for many years, but we have got quite a few space ones, and they're not licensed, they're kind of based on, I guess, Lego's own space theme in a way. But yeah, they look like they do tie together in some way. So in terms of playability, that's always a plus. I'm not going to buy them because I don't like Technic, but I think Technic fans might be happy. I know that they're a bit more interesting to me than previous waves. Let's just say that.
Okay. The one that does interest me, or I should say could have interested me, is the Kawasaki Ninja H2 motorcycle. But my biggest criticism of this, can you guess what it is?
I cannot possibly guess. No.
Kawasaki's. When you think of Kawasaki, what do you think
I
of?
think of them as green.
A green
Yeah,
bike. Why
that's
is the
true.
bike not green? I mean, I get that it's based on a real life bike, and that I don't know. I haven't seen that bike. It might be black, but Kawasaki's are bright green. You know, why not?
Traditionally, yeah, they
Yeah.
are. I mean, we grew up with bright green Kawasaki's. I don't know what they're like now, but yeah.
Kawasaki. I always just loved Kawasaki's when I was younger, because they were green. I love that green color. If that was bright green, I would definitely buy that set, but it's not.
Yeah, and you feel like with licensed sets like this, you feel like, you know, the Kawasaki as a company are kind of, yeah, the missed opportunity. Like, it doesn't stand out from the shelves, does it? It doesn't.
Thing is, if I'm having a party at my house, which I know is maybe quite far fetched,
Yeah.
but it could happen.
Free friends.
Yeah, and I have that on my shelf. I know that no one's going to comment on it because it's just going to kind of fade into the background.
I think
If that was bright green, it would stand out. You know, it
at
just
least get
looks so much
someone
better.
mention it, wouldn't you?
Exactly. Yeah. So
I think as well with Technic, like, you kind of have to go big to be good. I think smaller Technic sets, they kind of do look a bit ugly. You can't quite get that polished look, which
that bike does look good though. It does look
Yeah, to
good,
be
but
fair,
I
yeah.
just wish it was green. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you want to mention on Technic?
I mean, I think the Lunar Rover looks really cool. Again, another big set. So yeah, I like what I see, but I guess it's difficult to know until you do build them what they're like
Yeah.
to kind of play with and how they stack up as a display piece. Okay, so we'll move on to Star Wars now. We've only had 2 sets that we've had images for so far. One is a Young Jedi Adventures set, which I think most people are probably not going to be hugely interested about, although I do think it does look quite cool. And the minifigure, I think, looks pretty different and interesting. But anyway, then the second set we've had for is a large battle pack, which I think is, yeah, it's a pleasant surprise. It's very fairly priced. I think $30 in the US.
Yeah, not bad if you think you're getting, well, 9 figures in total, 4 minifigures and 5 droids. I think that's a pretty good deal, really.
Yeah.
Could have charged a lot more, like you say.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I know probably people will be picky, like hardcore Star Wars fans will feel disappointed they probably didn't get certain minifigures, but I think as an army building set, which is essentially what they are, that's what the main purpose of them is. I don't really see there's much cause for complaint.
No, not much to criticise there. I think it's a good, solid set.
Yeah, it's a set for getting minifigures, and you get plenty of minifigures, so yeah, there we go. Okay, so we'll go on to the city sets now. What are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I've been disappointed at city sets for many, many years, and that disappointment continues with this batch. I just feel as though LEGO just does the same old sets every year. It's normally like fire, like something fire related, like fire station, fire engine, fire helicopter, anything with just fire in the name, or or a police car, or a police truck, or a police boat, or a police station.
Yeah.
Those, for whatever reason, LEGO just seems to be stuck on those. I mean, back in the day when we were into City, I used to love City. You used to get like petrol stations, like train stations, gas stations.
There's a lot more to City than.
Or like little shops, supermarkets.
There's a lot more to City than obviously fire and police, and I think, it's just a real shame we haven't had more of that.
In fact, I don't want to live in a city where it's just full of fire engines and police cars, you know?
Who'd want to live there?
Yeah, exactly. So I want like
I think
houses, like little houses, little cute little houses.
Or like a farming theme would be really cool.
Farm would be great.
Had before, just tractors,
town hall, you know.
combine harvesters,
just
barns,
something like that. It's just so. The frustrating thing is there's so much they could do, you know.
Yeah, I know they're aimed at kids, these sets, but they don't need to be this bad.
Yeah, exactly.
I think as well they've gone for quite a few space ones again, which you had last year, and I think these ones are just not as good.
Yeah, it's like space sets should not be under the city theme.
Yeah.
Unless it's a space city, a city like on the moon or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think, the ones I was interested in were a few years back where they had the kind of wild animals. They were kind of cool, like safari kind of thing. That was a bit more interesting. But yeah, I would say these sets just been done to death.
Yeah, I mean, for like you say, they are aimed at kids, but for adults, it'd be good if these sets are more sort of if they could be more integrated into like a city, like an actual big city layout.
Yeah, I mean, I think we are forgetting that Lego is a toy, so we can't just look at it from an adult's perspective. But it's difficult not to.
Yeah, I thought the range they did a few years ago now, where it was like, do you remember that jungle theme?
Yeah,
That was fantastic. Yeah,
the ant with the
like there was like a like a helicopter sort of
yeah,
crash
yeah.
crash site. I
know.
think, and yeah, like bears and
Yeah, that was cool.
things and
That
caves.
was really cool.
That was good.
And the mining one as well. They had a few years. Maybe it was the year before then.
Yeah, the mining one was pretty solid as well.
Construction is something that we haven't had for a long time, which is really.
There's always a good there's always a place for construction sets, in my opinion.
Yeah, Lego City needs to be built somehow.
Yeah, until they start doing that, I'm not interested. I'm just going to move on now. So that wraps up our first impressions of these 2024 sets. We'll be really interested to hear what you think of them. Please do leave a comment down below. And as always, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. It really does help us out. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.